So at that point, you've started to see that scale matters. How is the past 10 years, 2016, why is that moment an important moment for you?
Oh, the reason I mentioned 2016 is because I made a prediction in 2016 that was wrong in the opposite direction. I predicted that in 5 years' time, we wouldn't need radiologists anymore. I was off by about a factor of 2, possibly even a factor of 3. The time is going to come, and I meant for scans. I actually think I said at the time 5 years, maybe 10, but when they're reading scans in maybe 10 years from now, I'm very confident that the way you'll read almost all medical scans is an AI will read them and a doctor will check it. The AI is just going to get much better than doctors. AI can see much more in scans than doctors can.
Well, it's as you said earlier, if you've got 500 doctors that can each spend a lifetime looking at 500 images and seeing the progression of them and then compress their brains, that's vastly more information than one single doctor.
Yes, but for example, in tuition, we're going to get very good AI tutors. And there's a lot of research that shows, take a school kid and put them in a classroom, they'll learn at a certain rate. Give them a private tutor, they'll learn twice as fast. And so we know that AI is approaching being good enough to understand what people are misunderstanding. So I think in healthcare and education, there's going to be huge advantages. But I think that's a sort of the good scenario where we all get these really intelligent personal assistants that know everything about us and help.
When we think about building AI products, something that gets tossed around a lot is human machine or human model empathy and helping users understand what maybe they should expect from models so they know how to channel it properly. How do you think about that for software?
Well, there's one experiment where you have AI doctors and real doctors and they interact with patients, and then you ask the patients, how would you rate them for empathy? The AI ones do much better. The AI ones actually listen to the patients.
I think you would say, correct me if I'm wrong, that if it exhibits empathy, it might be doing it in the same way that we exhibit empathy, and therefore it might be, it's not just an performative empathy, it's going to come across as genuine empathy. Is that right?
It might be genuine empathy. I think for us to call it genuine empathy, the AIs would have to be similar enough to us so they could imagine what it would be like for them.
I want to zoom out to the societal side of things. So how difficult it is to see the future when things are growing exponentially.
We're not used to exponential growth. So a good analogy is, if you're driving at night on a windy road that you don't know, you often drive on the tail lights of the car in front of you. And as the car gets further away from you, the tail lights get dimmer. And they get dimmer quadratically. So if you triple the distance, they get dimmer by a factor of 9. With fog, it's not like that at all. It's totally different. With fog, if you can see clearly at like 100 yards, you just assume you'll be able to see something at 200 yards. But actually, you can see clearly at 100 yards and then nothing at 200 yards, because fog is exponential. Per unit distance, it removes a certain fraction of the light. It's very different from linear or quadratic things that we're used to. People don't really understand the word exponential because it's misused so much.
Anything as you think about the future of work?
There's obviously joblessness. So we just don't know whether AI is going to get rid of a lot of jobs. I suspect it is. Jan thinks it is. Jan, my friend, thinks it isn't. And in the past, things like automatic teller machines didn't cause massive unemployment among tellers. They just ended up doing more interesting, complicated things. There's other things though that aren't like that. And what will happen is one person with an AI assistant will be doing the jobs that 10 people used to do, and the other 9 people will be unemployed. And the problem with that is you've got an increase in productivity. That should help people. But you get 9 people unemployed and one rich person who gets a bit richer. And that's very bad for society. Obviously, we can't see very far in the future. If you take the fog analogy, I think the wall comes down at 3 to 5 years. We're fairly confident we've got some idea what's going to happen in the next few years. In 10 years' time, we have no idea what's going to happen. And you can see that by looking 10 years back. We had no idea this was going to happen. I think companies should navigate it by going in the direction of everybody having an intelligent AI assistant.
I just wanted to say what an honor it's been to have this conversation, and thank you.
Well, thanks very much for inviting me. It's been fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.